Recorded Books and RB Digital present The Numbers Game by Danielle Steele. Narrated by Michael Braun. To my darling children, Beatrix, Trevor, Todd, Nick, Sam, Victoria, Vanessa, Max, and Zara. May you be ageless forever. Fill your life with rewarding work, good people, and great joy. I wish you each long life and great love and happiness. With all my love, Mom, D.S. The Wisdom of the Ages. At 17, you chafe in frustration. When are you going to be an adult and treated like one? At 18, it feels like never. At 27, your 20s are so annoying. Now you're finally an adult. No one takes you seriously. Will turning 30 finally convince them? At 39, is life over? Does life begin at 40 or end at 40? Or does youth end at 40? Is the best part over or just beginning? It's up to you now. You have the winning cards in your hand. Play them. At 56, is everything waning? Your career, your looks? Where are the men, the opportunities, the jobs, the excitement? Is it really over, or is there time left? How much time? How much can you still do and have and be before you turn 60? And what then? There might still be 1/3 left. Enjoy it. At 92, you have figured it out, or are still working on it. You know what matters. You're not confused. Every moment counts. You know who you want to be with. You recognize true beauty. You are wiser and more creative than ever. You exude an inner beauty so powerful that you are beautiful on the outside. You're alternately gentle and fierce. You know the answers and share them fearlessly. You have the wisdom of the ages, the humor of a lifetime. You are brave to have come this far, and now, onward to 100 without stopping or faltering or slowing down. You wear your age like a crown, and are to be learned from, and loved, celebrated, and envied. We worship at your feet. D.S. Chapter 1. Penny Jackson had just finished her junior year at one of the best private high schools in Greenwich, Connecticut. It prepared its students for admission into the finest colleges in the country and required a high standard of academic excellence. Community projects and additional activities were encouraged to strengthen their college applications. As a result, the list of colleges they got into was impressive. Penny had turned 17 in December and would be entering her senior year in the fall. Her boyfriend, Tim Blake, had just graduated 2 weeks before. With Tim leaving for college at the end of August, Penny wasn't looking forward to senior year. They'd been dating for almost 3 years, and it was going to be lonely without him. He'd been accepted at Stanford, in California. He'd had top grades, perfect board scores, had been captain of the basketball team, and had worked as an intern for a senator in Washington, D.C. in the summer for 2 years in a row. Penny and Tim had been dating since her freshman year, and she couldn't imagine her daily life without him. In spite of their serious relationship, they had both remained diligent about school, sports, extracurricular activities, and maintaining their grades. Penny had volunteered with children at a homeless shelter since freshman year and had created and run a toy drive for them every Christmas. She loved kids, and they all loved her. She never missed a Saturday at the shelter. She had watched Tim throw his mortarboard in the air with the rest of his class, with a sadness she had hidden well. They both knew what it meant. They had made the decision when he'd been accepted in early admissions at Stanford. They had considered it carefully and felt it was the right choice for both of them. They wanted to be sensible. Neither of them wanted a long-distance relationship and the hardships it entailed, pining for each other, only seeing each other at Thanksgiving, Christmas, and spring break, and probably disappointing each other at some point. They had promised that they would break up after Tim's graduation. He was going to spend the summer traveling in China, which was his parents' graduation gift to him, and she was going to be a junior counselor at the summer camp she had attended for 5 years. It would be her first summer as a junior counselor. In August, Tim would be off to Stanford, and she'd be back at their old school without him, missing him, applying to college, and doing her volunteer work. They had made their agreement and stuck to it. They had broken up 3 days before and were both leaving for the summer in 2 weeks. They didn't want to drag it out in the end. They had cried like children when they left each other, but true to their word, they hadn't called, texted, or spoken to each other for the past 3 days. It was much harder than she'd expected. They wanted to stay friends, but for now, they were trying to get used to being apart. She felt as though her heart had been torn in half as he drove away from her house after he'd come to say goodbye. They had been inseparable for the past 3 years, and now, suddenly, she was on her own. He was not only her boyfriend, but her confidant and best friend. It was so much to lose. Letting him go was the hardest and most adult thing she'd ever done. Penny was a beautiful, green-eyed blonde, with long, straight, wheat-colored hair, slim legs that never seemed to end, a striking figure, full breasts, and a waist Tim could almost circle with both hands. She looked like the proverbial girl next door, or the girl everyone wished lived next door. Tim had spotted her on her first day at their school, at the beginning of her freshman year and his sophomore year. By Christmas, they were already in love. They made love for the first time a month after she turned 15, and were responsible about it. They rarely took any chances, although they had a few times, but nothing had happened.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.